Hey guys, welcome. This is a podcast that I've been wanting to do, a one-on-one with the First Lady of Chat, Dia, as she is a really great asset to the channels that we have, our great podcast that we do with the Unlimited Truth, the uh, the Exile and the Alpha podcast, and soon maybe Dia will do an interview, and it would be nice to see her do an interview with Hebot also. And it's so good to have Dia 4568 do this interview with me, man. And I hope you guys can come and join us and chop up game with us for a little while. We're not, me and Dia are not going to be here too long. I have to go to work later on today,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's good to see Dia here with me. And I thank you, Dia, for doing this interview with me. Ma'am, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Dia 4568, and I've been dubbed the First Lady of Chat by
Mhm.
Smitty Smith. and
Good guy.
yeah, he is. He's funny too. And I'm hoping that this interview will kind of get you guys to know me a little better.
Hmm.
There's I know there's not a lot of women gaming around that game, and I hope that my story can help inspire some girls if they are lurking around in the chats to come out, and for the guys to get to know how a woman perceives gaming and how we approach it.
Yes, Dia, and I really hope that that does encourage more, even young ladies and older women that do game, that have a voice, to actually do more podcasts and to actually come out and do their own podcasts and invite people like the All Women Podcast GWG. It's a four it's four, is it four sisters that do a podcast called GWG with El Boogie. I like El Boogie a lot. She's been out in the gaming community for a long time, the Xbox gaming community. She's
Mm.
my favorite out of there. There's Lady Infamous, and there's also Cerise, and oh, I can't forget her name because I'd be so upset. There's Cerise, and then there's Delilah, and they've been
Oh,
out here for a long time. They've been to E3s actually, Dia.
oh, that's
Hundred
hardcore.
has Yeah, Hundred has had them down there to his house. They did an E3. Hundred did interviews with them there. It was great to see them there in gaming, and they're very strong women that are out here uh, in the gaming streets, and they give their opinions and everything about gaming, and I really like that. So I would like to see more of that
Mm-hmm.
come out in gaming, because women are gamers also, and they need to be, in my opinion, need to be more respected out here in gaming when they play certain games like Halo
Right.
and Call of Duty and different things like that. Because to be honest with you, Dia, a lot of the women gamers that are out here are actually better shooters than some of the men out here.
I've
And
been told I'm pretty good too. I love
yeah,
first person shooters. So
and I would be so happy, Dia, to play those shooters with you, because I'm gonna
oh,
tell you
awesome.
one thing before we get into our interview. I played with a girl on Halo. Was it Halo 3? This is back in the 360 days. And I'm gonna tell you what, Dia, they hated her so bad. She was handing their ass to them on a silver plate. That's how good of a shooter she was. She was a good sharpshooter. She was really, really good. And they would call her any name up under the sun, Dia,
Wow.
that would really turn your stomach. They were calling her all kind of derogatory names. I'm not going to mention that here on
Mm-hmm.
my interview with Dia, but it was pretty terrible. And come to find out, the girl was from Canada. I actually got to know her. She was from Canada, and she was in a clan, a women's clan, Halo clan.
Oh, wow.
But she never told anybody else that but me. And we talked for a while, and then we lost contact. She was very nice, but man, let me tell you, Dia, anytime I played Halo, I had her with me
Right.
because she was that good. I mean, she was really just tearing these guys apart. So that's just letting people out there know in the gaming community, there's nothing wrong with a woman being on the front cover of a game. There's nothing wrong with a woman being the center of attention when it comes to certain games and that win game tournaments or anything like that, because they're people and they're gamers also. And there should not ever be a problem with a woman being on a cover of Battlefield. You know,
Oh,
and that was a problem at one time, D.
yeah.
They had a problem with that, seeing a woman on the cover of the Battlefield. I forgot which Battlefield it was, but they had a problem with that. And they would rather have seen a guy on the front of the cover. So that shows you the bias, some of the bias out here, Dia, that is out here in gaming when
Right.
it comes to either color or you know, being a female or anything like that. So unfortunately, Dia, it's a shame that it's that way out here in gaming. But anyways, guys, I want to get into the interview with Miss Dia here. So Dia, can you tell the everybody in the chat? Thank you everybody for coming. Let me give a shout out real quick. Google Poll, Unlimited Productions, Peltrex is here.
Hello.
Peldrex in here. We got our brother Unlimited Productions, and we got our brother E-Rock, the Don King of
E-Rock.
Xbox,
Wow.
E-Rock X. Thank you, brothers, for joining me and supporting me doing this interview with Dia. So, Miss Dia, I want to ask you some questions today uh, with the interview, and I wanted to know, Dia, in your own words and in detail, Dia, how did you get into gaming?
Ooh, that's a long story. Okay.
We got a little time. We got a little time.
Okay. Well, I don't have the same history that you guys have. I came from a big family.
Mm-hmm.
It's six siblings, and I'm the oldest. And so you factor in, I had both my parents in my home as I grew up. So, we had a big family.
Mm-hmm.
So that, in part, my dad worked often two jobs. He worked at Chrysler at one point, and then he would do other side jobs. He worked his way to buying a home for his family. We used to live in an apartment when I was like 5 years old, and he was a manager of the apartment, and he used that money to save up so he can buy his first home,
Uh-huh.
for us. And my dad has worked since he was 10 years old. He's from the
Mm-hmm.
South, but he moved up north to and met my mom, and
Yeah.
that's how I came to be. But with that, I basically grew up on that one street for a long time. And my parents, like, I'm trying to get a picture of my parents because they were, how can I put it? They didn't like gaming.
Yeah.
They didn't hate it, but they didn't think that it brought value to their children. So what they did was every Christmas or birthday, I would receive a present, but it had to be an educational present. So
Mm-hmm.
a book, sometimes I had books with a cassette tape that played, and I would read along with it, and it was teaching me how to read. The board games that I would get would be something like memory to help improve my memory, or operation so that I can learn hand-eye coordination. Simon Says, things like that. It had to have some type of benefit in a educational way. Now, from a child's perspective, I hated that. Okay. I got teased. I was bullied and stuff a little bit about that because, other kids were receiving things like, I came from a middle class neighborhood. So most of the people on the street that I grew up on, they owned their homes. Some were business owners. One guy was an engineer. My dad, like I said, he worked for Chrysler, so he made pretty good money.
Uh-huh.
But because he had such a large family, it spread out a lot. So, like, you can make decent money, but if you have a large family, it kind of balances itself out. But yeah, so I came from a middle class background,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the kind of upbringing my parents really fought hard to do. My mom was trying to be a nurse, but she gave that up to have her kids and to really be there to raise her kids, and that was a sacrifice I always appreciated.
Yes, sir. Yep.
You don't really hear that nowadays, but she gave up her dream to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But she did study to be a nurse for a while, but once you start having kids and you have a family, that kind of changes things. But with that, I did not have a background where I could game all the time. My parents didn't have the money in part, and when they did, they didn't want to spend it on that. So I got introduced a little bit, I guess, to some of the earlier systems through friends. They parents was a little more well off, so I might be able to play a game that they owned or something, but very briefly. But
Uh-huh.
that's what awoke in me to gaming and my love of gaming. I wanted to be there all day, but but the way we grew up. you know, you're even if I had a system like that in my home, you was always encouraged to go outside and play and run and get some fresh air. So it was just a
Oh,
different
yes,
time.
yes.
And you know, where kids are like behind a PC screen or playing on a console all day, that just it was unheard of in the time that I was coming up. So I eventually started going to arcades. And I would say that's where my love was at, is in arcades.
Okay.
I love arcades. It's something about the sounds and the atmosphere and the groups of people that gather around uh, a machine and watch two people that don't even know each other start battling it out. You know, like it
Yeah.
could be Mortal Kombat or Street
Fine
Fighter,
memories.
you know, a racing game. It was fantastic. And,
Hmm.
you know, that was, I have so many memories with arcades that that's where my love and my heart is with
Oh yeah.
arcades. I miss the arcade scene. I used to
Me
just
and you
go
both,
arcade
dear.
hopping.
Me and you both.
And so that's where I got started. And then from there I transitioned into consoles. The console, I was a Sega girl.
Hmm.
Although I could pick a Nintendo, I chose Sega. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And I, to this day, I could care less what anybody says about it. Sega, for me, the way they developed their games, what they offered, and just, I thought they were some of the most creative developers out there. I enjoyed their games. One of my all-time favorite games that they ever came up with, something that you rarely ever hear people talk about, and that was Nights into Dreams.
Yes.
That game hooked
Fantastic
me
game.
so much. The music, the design, the vision they had for that game. Now, today's standards, of course, it doesn't hold up quite as good. But
Yeah.
back then, that blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, look at the space. I you know, from my perspective, I thought like there was no place that you couldn't go. And the way the music was designed, and even though the story was simple, it was just the vision that they had for that game. Nights into Dreams, that was such a creative game. And that's what really hooked me into Sega, because I realized that they were not afraid to try different types of games and things. You know, from there I played things like the Virtual Fighter games and just anything. I would play anything Sega. So I consider myself a Sega girl. I really loved Sega. And
Dia,
then I'm
Dia,
sorry.
do you actually, if you look at your camera, do you mean this, Dia?
Yes, you got that. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's wow. I cannot believe you have that.
Yes,
Wow.
I've had this in my collection, Dia, for a long time. This
Oh
is
my
the Knights
gosh.
Enter Dreams the special edition with the 3D controller that
Yes,
came
that
with it.
controller. Oh my god. Oh
That's
my gosh. I
yeah, I've
cannot
had
believe
that
you
for a
have
long
that.
time, D. This thing is actually worth a lot of money right now, D.
I can imagine.
You
Oh,
can
I
get
wish
yeah,
that, man, that
that's
is,
a great it's a great game still today, actually,
oh my
D.
gosh. I cannot
I
believe you
go
have
back to
that.
playing that. I just wanted to get that real quick and show you, but that's a great game. I had a
That
lot of
just blew
fun
me
with that.
away. I'm sorry if I that just blew me away. Oh my god. That just takes me, man, I love that game so much.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, so yeah, my last console and my all-time favorite is the Dreamcast. Um
Oh, okay.
I still have my Dreamcast to this day.
Yes.
I love that. That broke my heart when the Dreamcast, when Sega died.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to do, cuz I don't know why. I can't explain this. I don't hate Nintendo, but I was never drawn to Nintendo. I don't know why that is. I've played on one a little bit and I don't know. It was not Sega, okay? It was
Yeah.
not Sega for me. So, you know, no offense to people who like Nintendo, but it just wasn't Sega for me. And so I didn't know what I was gonna do. And from there, I what got the next place I moved on to was PlayStation, and it
Yeah.
was because of
Mhm.
Final Fantasy VII. That
Okay.
game,
Mhm.
it was innovative, and you know, as you can see, I'm drawn to innovative games.
Of
Okay,
course. Mhm.
so at that time, the tech that they were using and the way it seemed like a movie, I was drawn into that. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna have to try a place. I wasn't really drawn to a PlayStation until that game came out, to be honest
Mhm.
with you. So I said I'll get one and see how that game turns out. And to this day, Final Fantasy VII is my all-time favorite RPG. I have
Oh,
other
okay.
ones I love for different reasons. For
Yeah.
JRPG, that's my favorite. But for Western, I love Fable and I love Skyrim. Those are my all-time like three RPGs is Fable, Skyrim, and Final Fantasy 7. Those are my three. But I separate JRPGs because they to me they are different from Western RPGs. They do things differently. And
Right.
so I in my head I separate them out. So I had the PlayStation, and I would say I really loved PlayStation during PlayStation 2 era.
Yes,
Now,
I would say, D, that in my opinion, that is the best PlayStation ever
I
created.
agree. I absolutely agree. I think
Mhm.
they did a lot well during that generation. Now, I would explain why I didn't have an Xbox. 'Cause I know people are thinking like, why didn't you try Xbox? I actually was going to, but I learned through listening to you guys how manipulated I was back then.
Yeah.
I went to, and it wasn't a such thing as a GameStop. I can't remember the name of the place that I went to, but I used to go because I was into physical copies of stuff back then.
Yeah.
So I actually went to places to buy my games, and I remember I used to put a lot of trust into other gamers. That's just how it was. It was an old school style way of doing things.
Word of
You
mouth.
right, and you would ask questions, really wanting an honest answer from another gamer, right? So I
Hmm.
went to some type of electronic shop that's what they did. They sold games and everything. I can't remember the name of it to this day.
Is it
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
is it a big is it a was it a big was it electronics boutique
It might have
or
been that. Yeah, it was like a
Babbage's?
big. Yeah, it might have been something like that. Yeah, it was a name brand place that you can get games from, consoles. You could, they kind of carry other stuff too, but they had that. They had a big section of
Yeah.
these physical games and stuff. And back then I used to collect physical. So I went there and I asked them, I said, I'm thinking about getting an Xbox. Now this was during the first Xbox I wasn't sure about because I was just being told by it was so big and I didn't
Oh yeah.
understand anything about the Xbox and I didn't know anyone who had one, so I didn't know what to make of it. But I really got interested in Xbox during 360, and I was like this close to buy one. And I went and asked someone about it. I said, "Hey, can you tell me about Xbox 360? I want to know more about it. I'm thinking about buying one." And this person talked me out of it. They said, "Hey, are you into FPSs?" At that time, I wasn't. My gaming patterns have evolved over time, so
Right.
I wasn't at that time. And
Hmm.
I said, "No, not really." And they said, "Well, then you won't want this
Oh,
console."
really?
They told me that, and I
Okay.
said, "Are you sure?" And they said, "Yeah." And then a couple other people came around and said, "Yeah, yeah." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, thank you for telling me that." And so I went with a PlayStation. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know enough to look into it.
Uh-huh.
I thought I was getting good, honest advice from other gamers. That's what I thought. Because they said they game too and all this, and they said, yeah, PlayStation is better for you. So I stayed with the
Yeah,
PlayStation.
they were around. They were around, and yeah, unfortunately, D, it was the bias was even back then. It wasn't as bad as it is today, D, because of
Hmm.
social media that makes it 10 times worse. But
Right.
yeah, as growing up, you're right. There have been people that have said that to me also. But I worked at a GameStop at one time. That's going to be another show. But yeah, you're right. There were people that were influencing and
They
saying
did.
that stuff back then, and
Yeah.
you're definitely on point with that, D.
Now I didn't know that though. I thought they were giving me honest advice. I didn't understand that. Maybe I was naive in that way, but like I said, I'm old school, so I thought, that's what you did. You talk with other gamers, and everybody was talking about what they liked and what they didn't like, and what games were good and wasn't good, and everybody
Hmm.
had their little biases, but it wasn't to the point that they would steer you away from buying something that
Oh
you
yeah,
might
yeah,
like.
yeah.
So I didn't get the Xbox 360, but I was interested in it, and I stayed interested in it. And I said, I should have bought one because by the end of the Xbox 360, I realized people was loving it. And I said, I'm gonna get an Xbox One. I'm gonna get an Xbox One.
Yeah.
This time I'm not gonna listen to anybody else. I'm gonna get an Xbox One. And then the media this time.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
understand the media was
Mhm.
biased. I didn't get this stuff. And I was like, I was so slow. I was like, at the time that the E3 came out, because I use E3s as a way to gauge what am I going to invest in the next generation. That's how
Yes.
I determine that, right? because E3 is fun. You can look at everybody's showcase and get an idea of the games that are coming out, how their system is, you know, and the media. From somebody who was not in the Xbox community, I can tell you this, that they wanted Microsoft and Xbox to die. What I saw and what I experienced at that time was unheard of in any type of media that I have ever seen in my life. The stories that they put all over about what Xbox had did and what they had said, and you know, they made Microsoft seem like the big bad bully, to the degree that even people who didn't game hated
Yes,
Microsoft.
ma'am. Yes, they did.
And this is from a perspective where I wasn't invested in Xbox at the time. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't. And I'm very angry at that now that I see that this is still going on. I'm very upset that I didn't get a chance to experience certain things that I could have because I listened to the wrong people. And I hope that for the people that's listening to this testimony, that even if you feel that way, this hopefully they can take my experience and learn from this, because this is what the media has done. And although, yes, you know, a couple of gamers, dissuaded me from getting the Xbox 360. What the media did was even worse, because I had a really bad view of Xbox and Microsoft after that. I told other people that, you know, I didn't, you know, I had people that I knew who own Xboxes and I wasn't even interested in, because I thought that really they painted them out to be a evil company.
Yeah.
From an outsider's perspective in, because again, I didn't understand what was going on. And then after a while, I just went hardcore PC.
Yeah.
And I still love PC, but I always was a dual owner. I always had a console with PC. I feel like you get different experiences out of both. And I highly encourage people to do both if you can afford it.
Right.
PC allows certain freedoms and things that you can do, and console gives you reliable experiences that you don't have to worry about making sure things work, or, you know, or whatever. You can just enjoy your gaming. It's reliable, very reliable gaming. And so, but I would say that I love the PC experience, but I started noticing that PlayStation wasn't what people were saying it was. And I'll tell you the PlayStation I hate the most. I hate PlayStation 4. I hate and detest PlayStation 4. I can't express to you how much I hated that console. The controllers didn't work. The thing was loud. PlayStation didn't do anything for their gamers. It didn't matter how long they were in their ecosystem, if you can even call it that. And I can go on a rant right now about PlayStation, but I tell you, the last straw for me was that whole Cyberpunk 2077 thing, because I got caught up in that. And I said, this is it. I am going with an Xbox. I don't care if the skies crack open and tell me not to buy one. I'm buying an Xbox this time, because I'm sick of PlayStation. I'm sick of Sony. And what I did was I paid attention to Xbox when they debuted their console, and I fell in love. Now, you want to know, I told you my favorite console of all time was the Dreamcast. Guess what's a tick behind that? It's the Xbox Series X. It is by far one of the best consoles I have ever owned, and I'm still learning things about it. It's a fantastic console. I have been so happy with my Xbox, I can't even express it. And I would highly encourage a person to pick up. And I'm sure the S is similar. It's just a little bit underpowered. That's it. It has everything else that the X has. It's a great console. And I want to get an S too, but I had to go for an X, because you know me. I like everything. I have my PC, so I'm used to an X, and I have a OLED TV and everything. So I really need the X.
Nice. OLEDs are nice TV. Those are nice TVs.
Oh gosh, try to look at PlayStation on an OLED.
Oh man,
on the Xbox. Oh my god,
I bet.
Oh man,
that's the full potential, experience. And you see the full potential when you have those. When you have those high tech OLED and QLED screens, you're getting the most quality out of your Xbox Series S and X. Yes. You know, when you have those. Now, I don't own an OLED or a QLED yet, but I have a nice 58-inch Samsung 4K HDR 10 plus
I have that
TV.
too. Yeah,
It's a
I'll check
crystal.
it.
I think it's
Yeah.
called a crystal.
Yep,
Crystal.
yep.
It shows
That's a
up with
good TV, by
Blacksmore.
the way. Very good TV.
Yeah, I have that, and I even see the potential in that. But I can imagine playing a game like Plague's Tale on a QLED or OLED TV, like he
Mm-hmm.
bought has a very expensive TV. I think he has what you have. I think he has a OLED. His kid purchased him for Christmas, and
Oh, okay.
you can see it in the detail and everything. So yeah, the higher the quality you go, when you invest in a television, you're going to get more out of your your Xbox Series S and X, dear.
Yeah, I was surprised because at first I had it hooked up to my Samsung 4K.
Okay.
And when I actually hooked up the Xbox Series X to my LG OLED, it
Mm-hmm.
ticked off every box. Every box that TV could do, it ticked every last one of them off.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. That surprised me when I did that. But yeah, I highly encourage that. And that's just from experience and take it from a person who has a high-end PC. I actually do. I'm not saying that. I have a GeForce RTX 3090. At
Okay.
that time, the 40 series was not even out. So,
Yeah.
I have a 3090 and I can run anything. I have not had any problem running
Nice, dear.
anything so far.
Nice.
But I still see incredible power and value in the Xbox Series X. Is on par. Like when you combine that with that OLED, it's like on par with that. I'm like, why? Now, of course, a PC can do other things because you have a little more control, so you
Of
can set
course.
things higher and all that. But if you want like high end consistency,
Mm-hmm.
that's what the Xbox gives you. It
Yeah.
gives you the consistency is always good. Like you always get the best picture you can get. You always get the best experience there. Like it never drops, it never dips. I've not noticed that. It just seems consistent to me. So I got into Xbox then. Yeah, that's how I got out of PlayStation. I could go on a long rant of the issues that I had with PlayStation. It was by far the PlayStation 4 was the worst console I have ever had. And by the way, I didn't get PlayStations for their first party. I want to clarify this.
Oh
I was
wow.
shocked to know that people did it.
Oh
I've
wow.
not ever played Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I've not ever played God of War or Horizon. I've not ever played Ghost of Tsushima. None of
Mm-hmm.
those. I've never played those. It
Yeah.
was I didn't, I have a few third parties on there, but
Yeah.
I didn't play it for its first party. So when I wouldn't mind trying it, but I didn't buy the console for that. So I've never even played those games. I've never even played Spider-Man. I know people could be shocked by that, but no, Spider-Man didn't hook me into that system or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um I played a couple of their exclusives that were outside of that. Until Dawn, I guess.
Yeah.
Detroit Becomes Human, those things. But
Okay. Yeah.
a couple of those. But that's it. I hardly ever touched that for because I hated it. So whereas I can tell you, as opposed to my Series X, you want to know what I'm playing right now? I'm playing Signalis, which Tech told me about. I'm gonna buy
Okay.
that game. It's very good. It's very good. I'm also playing Uden Chronicle Rising. I'm trying to get ready for Uden Chronicles because that's coming out to Game Pass sometime this year. They had
Yeah.
20.3. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get caught up on that. I'm also playing Atomic Heart. I'm a little hesitant. I'm hearing there's some racism stuff in there, so I need to look into that. I haven't seen anything, but I may be halfway in that game. I've really been pushing the metal on that game, but I've been playing Atomic Heart. And what's the other game I've been playing on there? Halo is an off and on thing for me.
Yeah.
I
Halo
always
Infinite.
have. Yeah, I play Halo. I love Halo. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love Halo. And what it's one more game. Oh, Hi-Fi Rush. I just bought that thing and put that on my back burner. I'll get back to that because I can't keep up with the games. I'm trying to get ready for Resident Evil next. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to clear some of the things off my list. So you can see I hop around to games a lot. So but yeah, that's what I'm playing right now. I have quite a few games on my backlog. I have more on my backlog, but I also have a PC backlog. So I balance that out from Game Pass PC, which you get different games on Game Pass PC. You don't get all the same games on there as you do a console. So I have access to both since I have a Game Pass Ultimate, so I can hop between the console and the PC and play those different titles. Not everything is on each. I
Yeah.
don't know why that is, but it's just that way. So yeah, so now that takes me to my experiences now. Yeah, I still game on PC, but I do Game Pass PC.
Hmm.
Um but it's ultimate. It's both, I guess, services in one, you know. And I don't really I'm not on my console all the time. It depends on what game it is. I don't like to do FPSs on console. I'm not used to it, and I'm terrible at it. So I just stick to the PC for FPS games.
Okay.
Because I'm just terrible at it. You would think I'm playing for the first time. You don't want to see me do that. But on PC, I could be a nightmare. I once I have taken to a game and I'm playing the FPS, I usually get really good at it. I love FPS games, and I want to do Gears. If I could ever get a group of people or somebody who would want to
Well,
join me in Gears,
well,
I would love to do
yeah,
that.
we would. I mean, I think me and Zink would we would join you in Gears. He's a huge. I'm a Gears head, and he's definitely a Gears head. So
Okay,
we could play. We'll have to talk about that. If you're
yeah.
still in here, Zink, we'll have to get together with Miss Dia here and have a game of Horde with Dia on Gears. Man, we're gonna have to have a Gears night. So maybe if maybe if not this weekend, but when she has time, if
Hmm.
you're still here, Zink, maybe we need to get together with Dia and have a good game of gear of Horde. You know,
Hmm.
on Gears 5, man, that would be great to play a game with Dia. That would
Yeah.
totally be awesome.
Yep.
And
I'm looking for gamer friends from time to time. So, you
yeah,
know, like I said, in the Xbox ecosystem, I do have some friends on the list, but not everybody. It's been hard to get. I have some PC friends that play with me on Xbox because
yeah,
I've been encouraging them to join me in there, and you know they've been joining me. But it's hard to get consistency there because you know PC gamers are different.
hmm.
Um,
Oh
they
yeah,
are
they
they are
are.
different
They are.
monster, and that's another perspective I would like to also bring to our group because I do game on PC. I think a few others do too. I'm not sure.
I game on my the I game on my my laptop. My
Hmm.
wife bought me a year or so back. It's a NVIDIA GeForce GTX um,
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah.
laptop, and I
Okay.
played before I got my Series X. I wanted to experience that one game that Unlimited and other Zink and them were playing. It was that scary game that came out, and it was only for the Series X. What was that called again?
Scary game.
It was a it
Who's the
was a
publisher?
it was oh man, what is it called? If you're still in the chat, if you're still in the chat, Unlimited, what was that game called, man? That you guys were playing, and I had to play it on my laptop. This is before I had it. We were talking about it in a couple podcasts, and it's a girl that tries to. I can't remember if she's searching for somebody or something. I forgot the name of the game. I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
But that was the only way I could experience it through game. I think it was Game Pass.
PC? Yeah, PC Game Pass.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
was good. It was good too. It was good. That's it. The
The
medium.
Medium. Oh,
The
okay.
medium.
I have
Thank you,
not played
Google.
that.
Thank you, Google Poll. And it was good. I experienced it, and I wanted to play a next gen game. And the only way I
Okay.
could play it, Dia, was on the laptop we're doing the interview on. Was
Oh.
my HP
Yeah.
laptop because at the time I only had my One X. I didn't have my Series X yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So and yeah, it was a great game to play on there. It was really really good. What'd you say, other thing? I'll put I'll put life on
On
hold
hold.
to play Gears 5 Horde with
Oh, okay,
mode.
cool. So this is in, I guess. You know what would be fun for your channel if you stream that, if
Yeah,
you could,
yeah,
or if somebody wanted to, you know, they
yeah. We
can.
could
That would be
stream it.
fun. Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Uh-huh.
But Dia, I wanted to ask you now. When you were telling me you love the arcades, and a lot of us in the chat, in the
Mhm.
room, and and in the podcast remember those days, and those were great days.
Mhm.
Your very first console experience, there, would you say it was the Sega Genesis
That I owned, yes.
that you own? Now,
Yeah.
what now at the time, the what was like on that Sega Genesis? Because I was a Genesis fan too. I didn't have a Nintendo. My
Yeah, I never
first
had, yeah.
one I ever bought and owned was the Sega Genesis that came with Altered Beast. I was the very
Oh,
first one a system I actually owned that I bought with my own money. But what would you say, Dia? What was your favorite pastime and best game, or some of the good games that you enjoyed on your Sega Genesis, would you say?
Sonic. I like playing Sonic games. I played man, I played a lot of different stuff. I guess yeah, if you can believe it, you know, I was younger, so um I played anything. I played Disney games. They had these old like Disney back then. I used to be heavily into the Disney animated stuff, like
Okay,
movies and
like
stuff.
the
I
Mickey
like
Mouse
that.
games,
Yeah, and, you know, believe it or not,
Fantasia.
they had like Aladdin,
Yeah,
The Lion King. I know these games, but these are games. You know, keep in mind, my parents. Okay, all right. You have to keep in mind. All right, so just keep that in perspective. But
yeah,
yeah, things like that they would be okay with after a while. You know,
yeah,
it's very kid friendly or young friendly. I wasn't like, but you know, you have to humor your parents, you know. So like I
yeah,
played things like that. Now I did try to sneak in some titles like Batman games. They had a Batman they had different like games like that for with comic characters and stuff like that. I
yeah,
played
yeah.
that. It was limiting. I couldn't just do anything, you know. But I enjoyed the experience. I like because it was my first console. So you gotta understand anything
Yeah.
was great with me. But that's the kind of games I played. It was very filtered. And then when I got into the Saturn, the Sega Saturn, that's when I actually got into other things that I wanted to play, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
So,
the
but
Sega.
yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, those games I play anything I could get my hands on that wasn't games back then. I guess you know it was during the time that they was making it seem like games were really bad, but it really wasn't all the time, you know. So I had to I had to really filter what I played, and you know, and
Yeah.
I couldn't play it all the time, so I didn't own a lot of games, and it was just that way. My parents was, you know, look, I've come to forgive my parents, even though I love gaming it to this day. They haven't tried to say anything negative about it, but uh they took a big chunk of me away when they did that.
Yeah. I hear
But
you.
you know,
I
but
hear
I
you.
appreciate them because you know I did very well in school, and you know I understood why they did that. You know, but yeah, with the Genesis, I played whatever I could get that
Hmm.
they would approve of. I guess you know it didn't really matter to me. I never had a preference, but I like Sonic back in those days though the
Yeah.
most, and very PC friendly. I guess you know like politically correct friendly games like
Yeah.
that. You know,
Hmm.
so I played different stuff. It really was no preference at that
and
time.
and Dia, you told me, or if refresh my memory, the very first time you ever experienced the game, not the Genesis, was
Mhm.
it on your parents' PC? Did
My
they have
very
a
first time
PC?
experiencing a game.
Like a game, like not even a system, like ever, like just like was it like on a computer? Like firstly, like playing a game? Because I remember your parents. Did your parents play? Did they play any games at all?
They played board games with me.
Board games, but they never
Yeah,
never was nothing electronic, like a computer games or anything like that.
no, they're
Okay.
they're very illiterate when it comes to
Oh,
computers. So yeah, yeah. When I
Piedmont
got
said
into
you had
PC
Sega
gaming,
Saturn, Dia?
yeah, I did.
Yes, she did. He bought. She did.
Yes, I did. And well, when I got into PC, then I started getting into FPSs and stuff. I think I had Fear. I got Doom
Oh, I
3.
love Fair D. I have them all
Um
on the Xbox. Love them.
Man, I'll tell you too though. Doom 3 scared the heck out of me. I was scared of that game. Man,
Fair
I was like,
3?
yes, it was that game was scary to me. But by today's standards, maybe it's tame, but I couldn't get through the game because I was scared. I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is way scarier than I thought. It's not like Doom Eternal. It was more horror based. I believe
Yeah.
that's the one that was horror based. I think it was Doom 3. And
Yeah,
Fear.
Doom
I don't
Doom
know why I was
3.
picking games like that. Fear scared me too, but but it wasn't as bad as Doom 3 for me. I don't know why. Oh man.
Well,
But yeah, then that's when I started getting into FPS is when I was terrible at, and that's another thing. People they say they can't really get into keyboard and stuff. I thought the same way. I came from console background,
right,
but
right.
you just you play it, eventually you'll get used to it and it becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. Your fingers just go to whatever keys you have to go to. You don't even think about it. I never look down whenever I'm playing on keyboard and mouse, so
Hmm.
it's not an issue. And like I said, you can do that with Xbox. So to me, those things are interchangeable.
Yeah.
I use a controllers with my PC, and I have yet to do a keyboard and mouse setup with my Xbox, but I would love to try it and see how that turns out. But I think I can do it with that, no problem, because that's a powerful console. That Series X is.
Oh
I think I
yes,
can
oh
do it
yes.
perfectly fine with no
So
latency.
so Dia, let's fast forward a little bit as we fast forward into gaming.
Hmm.
There was the 360 we talked about.
Yep.
You said you got an Xbox One, and that
I
was good.
wanted to get Xbox One until E3. E3 and what happened with that completely misled me because
Oh,
I didn't know. I mean, it was the media though. I wasn't listening to people this time. I figured I would stick very close to news,
right.
But I did not know they were that biased. I had no clue.
Oh yeah. Well, Dia, I'll tell you real quick, just real quick, guys. And they've heard this story before. When I worked for GameStop, Dia, there was a lot of treacherous things that went on behind that company. I've seen it in and out. The stuff that they would preach us to do, working for that company,
Hmm.
and when people would come up to me, Dia, when I was a sales associate on the floor, and they asked me, "What is better?" Because I want to get either this is back when the PlayStation and 360 were out. They said, "What is better, a PlayStation 3 because I want to get a console, a PlayStation 3
Hmm.
or Xbox 360?" And what I would tell them, I'd be like, "Well, what are you more into? Are you more into like playing single player games, or are you into more story driven games, or would you like to be more into multiplayer games with story and playing online, but preferably an online system where you're playing online, most of the time, with that system?" And they told me um, they like to play, you know, both multiplayer and story driven. So I told them, I said, well, the PlayStation 3, it at the time it had a lot of games that were mostly story driven, like
Oh
um,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Heavy Rain,
Hmm.
Last of Us,
Yeah.
different games like that. And I said, if you want, you can go for that. If you want to just be mostly single player, if you're a single player gamer, I would go for the PlayStation 3. But if you're into playing online and connecting with other gamers around the world and playing online games that also have a story with it, I would go with the Xbox 360. I told them. I said
Okay.
it's a little bit, and at the time it was cheaper because at the time I think the PlayStation 3 was $500 and the Xbox 360 was, I can't remember if it was 300 or something like that, but I know the PlayStation 5 was more. It was way more.
Okay.
So I said, in my opinion, you're going to have a better experience, honestly, with the Xbox 360. You're going to get more for your buck with the Xbox 360. The games have longevity in it. If you play Gears of War and you're done playing Gears of War, you have the opportunity to go online and play Horde and play Versus, where you play against other people and you get to meet other people and enjoy great conversation while you're playing your game online. It keeps the game alive. It keeps the game going and keeps you coming back for more. So they actually were inspired by what I said, and they bought an Xbox 360. That's not taking nothing away from a PlayStation 3, because there has been times where I would tell them the same thing, and they bought a PlayStation 3, and I never stared them away or told them
Right.
anything bad. Like, you had that experience. Oh yeah, it's not good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
they
never done that.
actively now that I think about it, when I was listening to you guys, especially like Hebot really opened my eyes to that. I think it
Yeah,
was Hebot and
he's very well knowledgeable in
maybe
that
Zinc.
realm. He really is. You know.
They were saying they were posing a scenario of what GameStop did, and I was like, hold up, that happened to me, but it wasn't GameStop. It might have been Electronic Boutique or something. But I was like,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happened to me. I was like, that's exactly my experience. I was thinking that in my head, and I was like, I've been duped. I
yeah,
was like, they did that out of bias. They didn't do that to give me good, honest advice. I really knew that for certain when they said that because it sounded like my experience,
yeah.
and I was angry about that. Because
Hmm.
I never got a chance to experience a lot of things you guys talk about with the Xbox 360. And I was really close to buying that console, and um, I never got a chance because I listened to the wrong people,
Yeah.
and it sucks. It really
Well,
does.
Dia, that's in that era, in that time era of the PlayStation 3 and the 360, PlayStation fans never seen nothing like that because the PlayStation 360 blew the PlayStation 3 out of the water. It just did. It blew it away, hands down. It was the darling system of that era. It really was. It was the console to have and own was the Xbox 360, even though it had the red ring of death,
Oh,
and they
yeah,
had
hear about that.
problems
Yeah.
with that. And they tried to capitalize on that a little bit, but it didn't work. Microsoft went out there and replaced everybody's console for free. On the other hand, Sony's PlayStation didn't do that. But the Xbox 360, all their customers, so that tells you how much money that Microsoft has that invested into the Xbox 360 to fix everybody's console out there that got the red ring of death. That's a
Mhm.
lot of money. That's a
That
ton of money.
is. Yeah, everybody's console there. That's something. Wow.
And all you had to do, Dia, is send it back in a box. They would ship you the sticker for free. They would ship you the shipping label. You stick it on there, and then you ship it back, and you'll have your console back in roughly maybe 3 weeks. It all depends. It could be
Mhm.
longer, but you're getting your console back, and you're getting a console back that works. And
Right,
they
right.
actually restock, and that's how that shows you how Xbox cares about their fan base, their consumers, because they did all that for free. They didn't ask you for no money. They just said put it in a box. They call it the cardboard coffin. Put it in there, slap the label on there, and we'll send it and ship it right back out to you with no problems. And you're right, others think the Sony PlayStation 3, they had the yellow light of.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
Zinc.
absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
And I remember friends telling me in order to get it fixed, they had to pay for it.
Yeah, Sony has never done any. I can tell you by personal experience, if anybody thinks that this group is lying about how PlayStation treats their fan base, they are not lying. I lived it. They don't do anything for you. Okay. They don't
Nope.
do things like that for you. With Xbox, I feel like I'm getting more than what I've actually paid for, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The value is that high. I never felt that way with the PlayStation, and that's why I just say I'm not getting another one. I was done with them, and I this time nobody was ever going to just talk me out of it. I said I'm getting one. I don't care if I waste my money, then I waste it, and I haven't regretted it, not even for a moment. That's true. PlayStation will not do anything for you. They
Nope.
didn't even want to give you a basic refund for a broken game. Think
Yes,
about that.
I remember those days. Dia, and there's again he bought with fantastic facts. He said they spent over $3 billion to fix the
Ooh,
red ring of death.
3
Thank you,
billion.
Hebot. I didn't know
Wow.
the numbers, but yes, Hebot is right. That's and it was for free, Dia. You didn't have to pay for shipping. You didn't have to pay for anything when you called them and told them what happened. I think they would ask you maybe I guess for a serial number, if I remember correctly, or something like that. And they would send you. They would actually sometimes even send you the cardboard box and the label. And when it would come in the mail, you just put it in there. They tell you take off your memory thing, your the memory that attached to it, the
Mhm. They
take it
have
off,
right, have
leave
your
it there
games
with
and
you,
things in there, yeah.
right, and send it back. And that's what they did, and you would get it back, and in a matter of weeks with no problem. And if it got it again when you got it back, you can send it back again and still get either another one or they'll fix it again. No money hands down, that they asked you for. That's good quality service, I believe, when it comes
Mhm.
to taking care of your fan base and a gamer and a consumer of gaming. And I've always had great customer service with them. With
Yeah,
Xbox.
yeah, they're very good. Yeah, this it's a breath of fresh air on this side of things, I would say. Yes, you don't have that problem. See, so he bought. Hey, Dia, did you have a favorite segment? Yes, we talked about that briefly. It was Nights into Dreams. I
It
think
was
it
Nights Enter Dreams,
into
Hebot. It
dreams
was this,
because of how
Hebot.
innovative
It
that
was
game
this
was for the
game. This
time
is
with the
her.
controller. Yeah,
This is
that was
This is her favorite, Hebot.
yeah.
It's Nights Enter Dreams. And when I first showed her this, she was like, I was taking her back, Hebot,
Wow, it blew my mind because
Yes,
that game,
Nights
for the
Enter Dreams.
time, it was so unique and so different
Yeah.
that I really appreciated that creative side of game development because
Hmm.
I had seen nothing like that before, and I really like innovative games. So that's why I like about Xbox too. I'll add because they put games out there that seemed weird when you first try some of them, and then you say, "Wow, this actually works."
Yeah,
This is pretty good.
yeah.
They got mine changed 5 times and they sent me back. Oh, he's talking about
The
the
I
Red Ring
think
of Death
yeah,
thing, right? Okay.
yeah. And you know what? And you know what, Dia? Before we go forward here,
Hmm.
I just think Microsoft and people, they don't want to acknowledge this. They go beyond and above to take care of their consumers. They really do. When
Right.
people say today, Dia, when you watch certain podcasts, because I watch these podcasts, they don't know I'm watching, but I'm in the background watching some of these Xbox podcasts, and some of these guys are they're kind of terrible on some of the stuff they say. Well, Xbox, they're doing good, but Sony's still the market leader. But Xbox, they need to do more, but they're getting better. Like they say this all the time, and I'm saying to myself, Dia, and you can give me your opinion on this. Xbox doesn't need to do more. They're doing enough. You got Ultimate Game Pass that's out. You know what I mean? You get it for a reasonable price. You don't have to buy no games at all whatsoever at $70. You can just get an Ultimate Game Pass subscription with your new Xbox Series S or X and not have to pay one red cent for a game, rather it be physical or digital. That's why the Ultimate Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, is the best thing right now that's going out here in gaming. And they're just bringing so much to the table. They're the ones out there talking all the time, tweeting stuff that's going to be coming out in Game Pass, communicating with their fan base and always tweeting and putting stuff on Instagram. You never see that from Nintendo that much. You never see that from Sony that much. It's always Xbox that goes beyond and above to let the consumers and people that love Xbox that they care about their consumers and they care about the people that support Xbox. Would you agree, Dia?
Yes, absolutely. I would say, look, this is what Xbox needs to do. Let their games and their service do the talking
Yes.
because that's what it's doing. Already, I mean, what was it? Unlimited said that was it Unlimited who said this, that 20 million people have already been integrated into Xbox Live or something. I'm not sure. I think I heard that from one of the podcasts.
What say it again, Dia?
I think Unlimited said that 20 million Xbox there were 20 million new Xbox Live accounts or something. It was
Yeah.
something like that, I think I heard, but I
Was
would
it
have to
Game
ask him that.
Pass? Was it Game Pass?
I think it was Game Pass. It could be that because it's folded into that,
Right.
So it could easily be Game Pass. That's how I got on there. It was
Yeah.
through Game Pass, so it could be. I gotta believe that it is. I don't think it's just Xbox Live. If you ask me, I don't think
Yeah.
it is. I think it's Game Pass. But what I would say is let your games do the talking. Let your service do the talking because
That's
it
right.
is. They've
That's
been
right.
trying to shut down Game Pass for how long now?
Oh,
And they can't stop it. And this
yeah.
month has been blowing people's mind. I can tell you that. I've been
Yeah.
seeing people who don't normally talk about Game Pass talk about Game Pass. They're
Yeah.
in there playing Wulong and I tell you, I forgot that. Here's the other game that I'm playing. Guilty Gear. I'm buying that game.
I'm playing that
Game is
too.
so good.
I'm playing that too.
Oh my gosh, Guilty Gear is so good. You guys have to try it if you haven't. Oh my gosh, that game is good. I'm gonna buy
It's
it.
taking me back. It's taking me back because I
Oh
actually
man,
own
it's good.
Guilty Gear game, Dia, on the Dreamcast and on the
Really?
original Xbox.
Wow. Oh man,
Yeah.
I've been missing out. I've been missing out. I love that game.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that game. That's pushed its way up there.
Oh,
Okay,
Unlimited
Unlimited.
did put it up, Dia. He wrote
Okay.
70% of Xbox Series X and S owners are subscribed to Game Pass.
Okay.
Xbox Series X and S has surpassed 20 million consoles sold worldwide.
Okay.
All numbers come from Microsoft Financial Report.
Financial report. So that's hard numbers there. Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, so they're growing and they're not even in their stride yet.
Yeah.
They're not even in their stride. What happens when all these games look it's already I don't you know what? If I'm gonna tell you now, if Forza gets pushed back, I'm gonna tell you why the reason is. You can go ahead and mark me down as saying this is the reason why it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Because Microsoft is having a hard time, they're learning this now, a hard time placing their games.
Mm-hmm.
because where you place your games is important. Yes, you
Yes.
can drop games anywhere in Game Pass,
Yes,
but
it
it's
is.
not wise. You don't want to get in the habit of that. You
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure you're placing your games in there in a spot to be their most successful. So they're having that, they're struggling right now because on one end they could end up owning Activision Blizzard King.
Yeah.
And if that happens, they don't really want to go up against Diablo 4 because that's a big game, and that's another
Oh,
one
that's right,
I'm
Dia.
going to be
That's
getting,
right.
so it's a big game. And this is from a PC perspective. I don't know about how the console gamers play it,
Yeah.
but from a PC perspective, Microsoft has to think about more than just console gamers. They think about their whole ecosystem. So they also want the PC gamer to be free to play their games, right? They don't want them to be tied up in some other PC game. So they have to think of the whole picture here. So if Forza gets pushed out a little bit back, don't freak out. Don't have a heart attack. Don't, grab your chest or anything. It's because they might have to do some movement for the best, for the betterment of the service and the game. And just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind because a lot of people are freaking out, especially over Starfield. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm hearing some crazy things out there about that. But um, yeah, I'm hearing some crazy things about that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that for you guys. I'm always trying to leave some good tips for you guys to be
Yeah.
hopeful and don't freak out if that happens. If Forza gets pushed out a little bit, I'm telling you, it's placement more than anything. That's
Uh,
what I think is going on.
hey, Dia. Hebot mentioned this. This actually, and I'll show you it. This actually came in a magazine. It was called Christmas Nights. You see that, Dia?
Mm-hmm.
This was called Christmas Nights, and this was another game that came out that was very popular for the Sega Saturn. Actually, this thing, believe it or not, this is actually a collectible, Dia. And I seen this sample, this Christmas Nights game online, gone for over $100-something. And
Whoa,
this actually
really?
came free in a magazine a long time ago. But Christmas Nights is actually built into Nights if you play it on your Xbox or
Okay.
anything like that. So it's a great little game that Sega Saturn released around Christmas time in the 90s, and it's fantastic, Dia. And if you ever play it on your Xbox backward compatibility, it's
I might have
actually
to
built
do
in
that.
there in the regular Nights game where you can play Christmas Nights, and it's very uh, great graphics. You get Christmas presents at the end of the board. You get to open up little Christmas presents and stuff like that, which was really
Oh, that's cool.
it was really awesome. And it was Christmas Nights. Yeah, it was really really awesome. What do you say here? Forza Motorsport will
He
release
says,
in
I
June.
think Forza Motorsport will release in June, maybe someday as their Xbox Bethesda showcase on June
Okay,
11th.
I can go with that unlimited. I can go with that unlimited. So Dia, what I wanted to ask you, because we're probably going to go soon, guys, and Dia probably has stuff to do, and I have to go to work later. But Dia, as we progress forward in gaming,
Mm-hmm.
and we always do podcasts about certain things that we're really disappointed in out here in the gaming streets and everything. Dia, what would you say, Dia, is how you say? What do you think the problem is, Dia? What in your own opinion and thoughts, Dia, with everything going on between, people harassing people about what preferred console they own, preferably, the Nintendo guys, because we've been out here in the gaming streets for a long time. They don't really get harassed. They really don't. They don't really get
Yeah, right.
harassed that much. They really
Mm-hmm.
don't. It's more of Sony and Microsoft. So, Dia, going forward, like, what do you feel about gaming today? Do you feel it's gotten a lot worse for people to actually that are true gamers out here to enjoy their preference of console that they purchase and to enjoy the games because of social media, because of trolls, different people out here that's out here today in gaming. Dia, what do you think about everything right now with that going on?
Okay, well, it's a twofold thing for me. On one end, gaming there's some problems with gaming. Okay, let's be honest. The
Mm-hmm.
cost of gaming is troublesome. It's taking longer and longer to make games.
Mm-hmm.
the way, like what you just saw with Square Enix, with how they had to absorb Luminous Productions, and
Yeah.
it's so much uncertainty out here. I think in that I'm a little concerned about AAA gaming moving forward. I think they might have to reel things back and do more AA, single A gaming. I think indies have a big chance to really showcase what they can do, but
Yes.
with the AAA area, you still want that. I don't know about that because really making it hard for only very rich companies that can afford to put that kind of money and time into it to be able to do it. So you're going to see less of those games. So in that sense, I'm a little sad about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say also I'm concerned about the media and how the media is, because it's so overwhelmingly biased.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
when I bought my Series X, I wanted to know everything I could about Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So I started like subscribing to people who said they were Xbox channels.
Yeah.
And I subscribed to the wrong ones. Digital Foundry, I got rid of them after 3 weeks. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I thought they were neutral.
Oh boy.
And
Oh boy.
I learned the hard way. They are
Me too.
far from that. That one
Me
of their
too.
guys actually posted a some store shelves of empty Xbox Series S, saying nobody wanted them. So
Was
one
that
of
Richard
their own
Ledbetter?
guys did
One
that.
of those guys.
Yeah, I don't know those guys because I didn't even keep them longer than 3 weeks. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody's trying to make me feel ashamed for my purchases, I get rid of them. Okay?
Oh yeah. Oh,
So Mr. Kima, no, I'm not on Twitter. So I'm sorry, I just saw that.
That's no problem, dear. This is no problem.
So from that, I am concerned with the media because they want to control the gaming industry. They want to be the arbiters, the voice of gaming.
Mhm.
They're not. It's us. We the people are the voice.
That's
okay?
right.
And so I want to see more YouTube channels like yours and podcasts and stuff with just average gamers talking about what they feel about games. And that's for all groups. I don't care if they're Nintendo or PC or whatever. That's the only way you're going to really and you're really going to know what's really happening. And I'm talking about without the biases, right?
Yes.
The difference between you guys is because they look at you guys as just fanboys, and that is a negative thing. Like, look, I'll name names. I don't care. Like I was watching on Boom's channel and stuff, and they act like they're somehow above you guys. But when I listen to you guys, you have a lot of knowledge. Now they may have some specialized knowledge on certain things. Some people may work in certain industries, so they have a different perspective on stuff, and that's why I was listening to them in the first place. But I unsubscribed to a lot of those channels. But but you guys understand the history. I put it this way: you say you're an Xbox channel, you understand Xbox. They should have one of you on there or two. Why are you people like you not on there talking about the game? I mean, the console that you like, the platform that you like, that you've always been on. That's the kind of people they need to have on there. They don't ever have people like you on there, and I was wondering why.
Nope.
So I realized that no, I can't just subscribe to anybody. I just can't listen to anybody. I need to really scrutinize what people actually say, and if they know what they're talking. Like a Heba, I will pit him or you or Zinc or Unlimited against any of them, and I think they wouldn't stand a chance. I really believe that. Not when they're talking about Xbox stuff and just gaming in general. Even Unlimited, as young as he is, he researches so much that he knows
he's very
just
knowledgeable.
as much. Yeah,
he's very knowledgeable.
They're not going to get nothing on him either. So
nope. They can try, but they'll sadly lose. He's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about.
May I address something that Mr. Kima just said? I wanted to say something with that.
Mr. Kima? Yeah, go ahead.
He said that the UK media is biased against Xbox. They're protecting Sony PlayStation. And Mr. Kima, this is the sad part about that. This is what breaks my heart about that. The UK gamer is better than that. You should have those companies competing for your business. See, this is why Sony is mistreating the people there. And yes, they are mistreating you. They can dictate whatever you pay for. They can dictate how your service is. At least with America, they have to fight for it. And Sony has to think twice before they do that. That's what I want for the UK gamer. I want the UK gamer to have the same opportunities to have, to get the prices lowered down, to, to have two companies competing. They should not have a 80%, market share company being protected for their sake. I don't want to dish on the UK gamer, but if that's probably all they've ever seen, So that, yes, that he's absolutely right about that, but it's not good for the UK gamer at all. I hope they think about making Sony fight for their money. That's what
Right.
they really need to
Right.
do.
I agree. I agree. You're right, Dia. They are better than that. They are.
And that's the bad part about that, because Sony knows they have a foothold there, and they're abusing those gamers. Because if I saw, if just as a PlayStation gamer myself at one point, if I could see the issues that I was having with it, and that the quality was dropping, in my opinion, this last console is a piece of junk. That thing is a piece of junk, and they're asking for more money than the Series X.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's unheard of, So no, you deserve better than that as gamers. I want everybody's experience at gaming to be equal. You shouldn't get third parties need to stop giving content to one group and not another when everybody's paying the same price. Stop that. Or we won't support you. That, yes,
Right.
I'll go there. I'm not beholden to a game to the point that I'll have you run over me and give me what your scraps. I'm not taking your scraps. You give
Right.
me the same quality that you give another group. Okay, that's how I feel about it. And so yes, I do scrutinize. That's why I didn't buy Callisto Protocol. I will not buy that game because apparently the Xbox and PC gamer wasn't good enough to have a great experience at launch.
Exactly.
And if I was going to pay $70, I want the same thing.
Exactly.
PlayStation gamers are not better than me.
They're not.
So that's how I feel about it. So I'm never going to buy that game. I'm glad it crashed and burned. And next time, let the developers think twice before they do that. The people that are taking good care of Xbox gamers and PC gamers, they get my money. That's how I look at it. And that's what I want all of you to do. And even if you're from the UK, start now. Make sure you're making educated, good choices when it comes to your purchases. It matters.
That's right, D. That's right.
Because they deserve better.
It's a shame. It's a shame, D. With what's going on with that, and all this truth is going to come out. D, especially with that Activision deal now that Sony has to put stuff out on the table now.
That's right.
This is bad. Right. What do you think about that, D? I mean, this is.
Well, thank goodness for Microsoft. That's what I say. If they were not in the industry, because I know that the media is salivating for Xbox to collapse. If they were not in there being acting as a check and balance to Sony, imagine where we would be. Sony would single-handedly destroy the gaming industry. Because I can tell you now, I wouldn't be buying consoles anymore.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. And Nintendo is no different either. I'm not giving them a pass. Nintendo never has sales. Do they even consider sometimes that some kids don't have as much money as others, and sales help them to get into gaming? Yep. Okay, it helps them. At some point, I was struggling because I told you I came from a big family, and yes, we made money, but sometimes money, there were harder times, and there was more prosperous times. And during the harder times, you have to stretch your money a little bit more. Okay, and sales saved me. It allowed me to be able to do some gaming that I couldn't do in better times. Nintendo knows better. Give your fan base a break and bring some sales sometimes to your people. I don't understand why people praise these companies when they're so greedy. And these are the problems that I see in the gaming industry, and we're allowing this. We should not. As gamers as a whole, we should all band together against these type of practices.
Indeed. Did you see our brother Lewis Frag? He's from the UK, and look what he wrote. I'm from the UK as well, and know how corrupt the country is. Wow. They screw over the gamers here. So there you go, guys. He's from the UK.
I'm very sorry to hear that, because I don't hate the UK gamer at all. They're one of us. All of us are gamers. We're all part of this community, and they deserve better. His dollar should be able to stretch just same as ours. That's why I hope, like with Microsoft, they can grow there. You guys can partake in things like the reward system and other perks that Microsoft is able to do here, because they have more of a presence here. They'll be able to bring that to you guys there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. With Sony being so protected, I don't know. They feel like that they can poop in your hand and have you say, it's ice cream or something.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
And Dia, I totally agree. And that, in my opinion, he bought can contest to this other Zing, and our brothers, E-Rock and Unlimited. That's slowly, almost surely coming to an end because Sony's really rearing its evil head when it comes to stuff. They're so worried about that. They're so worried about that Call of Duty thing, Dia, that's going to be their downfall.
Oh, Call of Duty is
That's going to be their downfall, Dia.
That is
Because all this
already
stuff's
set in
coming out
stone.
now.
There is no way Sony's recuperating from this.
Yeah.
They've admitted they can't make AAA games without Call of Duty. Call of Duty, one way or another, whether Microsoft gets it or not, they will. But just putting a caveat out there, whether they get it or not, they're not getting what they had before. And they were always going to get the Call of Duty game on their platform, whether it's Microsoft or just Activision, doesn't matter. But what they're not going to get, they're not going to get the better deal. They're not going to get the marketing rights. The game is going to be stretched all over the place. And you know what? You think Activision is not going to do that if they don't get their $70 billion? They're going to put that game everywhere. They don't want to be beholden to Sony like that.
Right.
They're going to do that with Microsoft's help, and Microsoft will end up getting the marketing rights. You mark my words on that. If that doesn't go through, those two companies will get their revenge. You best believe it. They will.
And you're right, Dia. And that's why Hebot would say, "Hey, Ghost Rider, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, Ghost Rider. Hope you're doing well."
We got a release date for Starfield. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Where's it at? Where's it at? Is that Lewis?
Yeah, Lewis said that. Somebody has to put that.
We finally got a release for date for Starfield. I don't know the exact date. I wonder if he knows in the UK.
Oh man,
we might know in the UK, D.
Oh man,
he might know there.
I'm looking forward to Starfield. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people are, and D, you're right about one thing. Hebot has been really talking about this a lot when he does like videos and stuff. They try to keep games off of Xbox. Sony PlayStation is infamous for doing that, and I don't understand why these companies follow them, because you could be making more money if you put it on all consoles, not just Nintendo and PlayStation, but like he said, since they're a Japan-esque, company and Japan-centric, they won't do it. They'll do what Sony tells them to do, and it actually hurts them. It actually hurts them.
Oh, well, watch the fake Xbox people come out. If it says August 6th, watch the fake Xboxers come out and say, they didn't keep their word. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. Watch that. That's coming, guys. So just prepare yourself for it. I told you some games were going to get moved around because it's just too crowded in the first half.
September 6th.
Maybe it's is it?
Wow.
Well, it's in the fall. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good spot for Starfield, honestly. With all and that's another thing. You just got so many games coming out in this first half. So
yeah.
I'm not pushing for it because I know it's coming out and I got so many games. I can barely keep up with what I have, honestly. It's okay. Oh. So it's September 6th. Okay. So I wonder when their showcase is going to be then. Okay. But yeah, that's I don't know.
Hebot said, great point, Dia. Dia, great point about Nintendo being a kid-focused company. They never offer any discounts and sales on their games.
Right.
It's true.
Right. And think about that. If they're a kid-focused company, some kids are not as well-to-do as others. They can't afford every game, or it takes a little effort for them to buy their games. And a sale will go a long ways, And Nintendo can't do that either, so I don't give them a pass either. Now they make good products. I'm not denying that, for what they do, but that's not an excuse for them to do that. It's not an excuse. But of course, the only criteria in gaming is that you make a good game and then you can do whatever you want. No. We cannot tolerate that. We can't tolerate that.
And you're right, OJ90. You're right. Sony has gatekept so many third-party games from the competition. That's true.
Yep. And notice that the industry doesn't care. They don't care if some gamers get a great experience and others don't. That's why we have to demand that. We have to demand that. And so this is why I don't like the gaming media. I really don't like them. I don't think they're healthy for the industry. I
Yeah,
really
I don't
can't
either.
wait until some of them can phase out and we can get some new people in there.
Yeah, I've never ever. I mean, I would go to these channels and Ghost Rider. Hey, brother. Hey, let the Xbox family know I send my salute. We send our salutes to you too,
Oh,
brother. Hope you're doing well, man. Miss you out here in these streets, man. Miss you out here, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming, brother. I appreciate it. But Dia,
mm-hmm.
I never really listened to them either. I mean, I was like you. I would every once in a while when I didn't know about Digital Foundry or Kutako or whatever their
Right,
name is, or any
right.
of them. I used
Yeah.
to listen to them. I did because I thought they were Xbox too. But here it come to find out, as more as I listened to them and some of these podcasts, they were anti-Xbox,
Exactly. Exactly.
anti-Xbox. So I stopped listening to them, just like you have.
Yeah, and it's sad, because again, I almost I was this time I was much more aware and I didn't get quite as deceived. But yeah, you have to navigate these areas. If you're an Xbox fan, you have to navigate carefully, very
Mm-hmm.
carefully, because you got a lot of fake Xboxers out there. They're actually there's no real neutral. I'm gonna be honest with that. Everybody has some type of preference. Everybody does, okay? And it's okay if you have a preference. Or if you like something a little bit better than another thing. Like I wouldn't deny Sony makes good games at what they do. They
Yeah,
do. They
yeah.
do. I mean, not all of them. I think sometimes they get overhyped, but I think some games are pretty well done. I mean, I'm interested. Maybe not that it's
Hmm.
come to PC because I'm never going to get a PlayStation 5. That piece of junk. But it's on PC, so maybe I might try the Spider-Man if I feel like it one day. I'm not pushed for it. I've had the system all this time and never played it, but if I feel like it, I might get it. It's on PC now, so maybe. But so they're good at that. But I think that Sony has been so protected. They can't do multiplayers. They can't look at Microsoft does RTX games. They do multiplayer games. They do co-op. They do all in one games. Like I look at Halo and they doing that everything. And if that's true about a battle royale, what doesn't Halo do? I mean,
Right.
what doesn't it have? Like it has everything. So they have had their hands in different genres of gaming and stuff, and I think they've done great. I think the games as a service thing is a growth period thing, and they do have to learn more in that. But I think they will. They will. Everybody has to do that. Even Bungie had to when they first started, so it's not a big deal.
What do you think about this, Dia? I speak the truth. You said, gotta disagree, Sega, man. Xbox could do the same and keep games off of other platforms. I can't get Sony off that anymore.
I
Can
can't
I
get
do
Sony
that?
for that.
Yeah,
Anyone can do that. That's what you
yeah.
say. Yeah, that's on them to do it too.
Right, right.
Xbox got to stop being soft
Yeah,
as
that's true.
tissue. I think I speak the truth. The thing is that Xbox doesn't what they want to do is co-opt those gamers. They don't want to pit them. Right now, these people have chosen Sony. Okay.
Hmm.
Just they at one point, many of those Sony gamers was once Xbox gamers.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
they don't really want to anger these people by punishing the platform they're on. What they want to do is make their platform so attractive that they have no other choice but to come over.
Right,
That's what they want. That's
right.
the best way to get gamers on your side. It's not. It has zero to do with Sony in those practices. Yes, they can do that, and Phil knows it, and all of Xbox management knows it. But they want to co-opt those people back, and they believe, at least this is what I understand, that once they get these people in this ecosystem to experience it themselves, they won't want to go back. They have that much confidence in their own services and their own games.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that's what I think they're trying to do. Um, they want those gamers. They know what their targets are, and so they don't want to punish the gamers where they are. That's why Phil has been very diplomatic on how he's handled those answers. With the Sony fanboys going crazy over Starfield and stuff. Now watch these same Sony fanboys start dishing on Starfield because it's coming out in September.
Yeah,
Watch it.
yeah.
But yeah, that they want to be careful with that because this is why Square Enix is not going to make it out of this generation. They didn't care about their gamers on Xbox and PC or
Yeah.
Nintendo for that matter. They didn't care about them, but
Nope.
Xbox does care. Okay, so that's why I think they're doing that. And I get it. Sometimes I get frustrated, but I'll tell you this one thing too. Phil is getting back at them, both the media and
Yes, he is,
Sony,
Dia. He
but
is. He
it's a
is.
backdoor approach.
Yep.
If you don't think
He's
that this COD deal
strategizing.
doesn't hurt them, it
He's
hurts them
strategizing.
tremendously. This COD deal hurts them very. It's like putting an arrow through their heart.
He's strategically doing it. He
Yes,
really
in
is.
a way that it just on the surface it just looks like an acquisition, but it's one that hurts them really bad.
Yeah.
And so I think that they know what they're doing, and I think that they're securing themselves, their future, while at the same time dealing with their opponents, if you will.
Yeah. And a Ghost Rider brother, I enjoyed you coming in, man, and we never forgot about you, man. We never forgot about you, Ghost Rider, man. Anytime he bought us, we'll hit you up, brother. I'm glad you're doing good. I'm glad you're enjoying your granddaughter and family, brother. And we never forgot you, bro. Much love here. Always has been, bro. And I hope everything goes good with you and your fam, man. Good to see you, Ghost Rider 730. Good to see you, man. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming,
D,
Ghost Rider.
Is there anything else? Because I know we're probably going to go soon, but hey, D, is there anything else you would like to talk about? I mean, I think I pretty much covered it. You told me about your when you game when you were younger. Excuse me, my throat, I clear my throat. But
okay.
About your childhood and gaming, about the arcades, and we're actually going to hit you up, me and Dia, because I know you're in the chat. I just want to let you know right now, Dia is a big, huge fan of He-Man.
Yep. I do. I love He-Man. I love She-Man. But I like He-Man. He-Man's my favorite, but I like She-Ra too. So I like
She likes
both.
She-Ra.
Yeah.
Let me tell you again, Dia is a huge fan of He-Man, and she likes She-Ra. We were talking behind the scenes before we went live, and she was telling me about all the great cartoons and stuff that she used to like back then, brother. She brought up Tranzor Z.
Oh my God.
He bought up Tranzor Z. He bought up Voltron. She bought up Thundercats.
Yeah.
All that stuff. She brought it up, man, and she's right down your alley, brother. She loves, and I told her you need to do a collaboration with her, You need to do a one-on-one with Dia on He-Man mythology and figures and pop culture.
I watched one of your shows on your He-Man figures, and that was wonderful. I watched all of it. It was long, but it was good. Yeah, I was like, wow, he really knows his figures, and it was just fascinating to hear. I didn't know He-Bot would, like I guess it makes sense because I didn't pay attention to his icon. I was like, yeah, he's called He-Bot. So okay, I got it now.
Yeah, Dia, like when he told me he was in, and everybody, if y'all didn't know, my brother He-Bot was in the movie called Be Kind Rewind. I still have to get that movie. I'm going to try to get it this weekend. But he was in that movie, and he was also in a documentary. He was in a He-Man documentary, and I need to get on point with that. I need to see that. But me and He-Bot talk about that stuff all the time. But He-Bot, Dia is a big fan of He-Man, and it would be good for you to do a collaboration with her, brother. Like when you have time, He-Bot, when you have the time, do a podcast with Dia on He-Man, brother. I would love to see that come to fruition, because we were talking about that. I said, man, wait till I tell He-Bot about this.
Yeah. I spilled the beans that I watched your whole. And yes, I did see you with the She-Ra figure. It was a big one, and very articulate. I like that one. She was beautiful. Oh my gosh, she was great. She's the old school She-Ra too, not that new one. I don't like that new one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna just state it. I don't like the new stuff. Okay. I like the classics. Okay, so but yeah, I liked her because she was from the classic She-Ra, not that new show. What was it, on Netflix or something? I can't remember where that show was at, but it looks like a little girl. She looked like a little girl or something. I don't like that one.
Yeah, hey, He-Bot, I guess, I mean, when we get off of here and stuff like that, we'll maybe Dia, maybe in the week or sometime maybe get a hold of Dia, talk to her, man, and see what you guys can do, maybe for this week or next week or something, man. You guys need to get together and do that, because she's really into that, just like we are, He-Bot. She's just like us, man. She's all into that. She remembers all that stuff. She grew up with all that stuff, He-Bot. So yeah, it'd be great to to do a podcast with Dia on pop culture of He-Man and toys and shows that we used to watch as kids growing up in our childhood. So in closing, Dia, is there anything you would like to say to all the gamers out there? And is there any kind of inspiration, like, because you always do that at the end of our podcast. Is there anything you would like to say before we close out? And also thank you for giving me your gracious time to interview you, Dia. So is there anything you would like to close out on before we end our interview?
Let's see. Well, I hope you guys are gaming. The stuff that's in there now in Game Pass and just on Xbox, because remember, one thing I forgot and neglected to say before, Transfer Z is hardcore. I'm sorry. But yeah, one thing I neglected to say is also please support games that are not in Game Pass but come to your platform as well. So you definitely want to do that. So purchase those games, save your money on the Game Pass games and just use it and move it over to the games that are on your platform that you can just buy outright, So I just want to say that this is still a great year for us. Again, ignore all the negative talk you guys are going to hear about the movement of the games, because Microsoft have to do that for the health of Game Pass and for the health of the games. They need to drop when they're going to make the most impact. At the end of the day, it's for the whole ecosystem to be healthy. So that my word of advice is just, fight back where you can, if they're trying to be misleading, but mainly play your games, have fun. Let's try to have some positive podcasts too. Like we can talk about the games we're looking forward to. Maybe E3. I'm looking forward, because that's where I have the most fun, is talking about things like that.
Yes.
So
I agree.
I would like to have a, I guess everybody said you guys said you're going to do an E3 type show.
We're going to do it. We're going to do an E3. Yep, we're going to do an E3 type show. Probably we'll have to talk to E-Rock and Unlimited about that and Hebot and see and see where we're going to do it at. Doesn't matter, because we're all family, so we're going to either do it on one of the brothers' channels over there. It's going to be great too, because I like doing shows like that. I did one. I was actually involved in one with 100 a few years back, and we had a great time watching E3, all of us over there with Intro Media Gaming. Big shots out to 100 and the family of Intro Media. But we had a lot of good fun over there at E3. So yes, we're going to get together. We got to talk to E-Rock and Unlimited and Hebot and make sure everybody can be there. And Dia, and like Unlimited said, great show interview, Dia. Welcome to the family. Dia is definitely part of our family now, man. Thank you, our Unlimited podcast. She is definitely a part of our podcast now. All of our podcasts that we do, Dia is definitely part of the family. Welcome, Dia, and she will be with us when she can be with us from now on. She's going to be on our podcasts when we do our podcast. It was great to interview Miss Dia, the interview with the First Lady of Chat, guys. And Hebot said, Dia, did you collect He-Man toys?
No, as much as I would have loved to do that. I used to play with other people's toys. I would have loved to do that. It was always a balance with my family, because like I said, I had a big family. So sometimes we had leaner years over others, but it was okay, because back then I used to play with other kids' toys. So I did play with them. So, and Transformers I played a lot with. I would say that. I love those things. Oh my gosh. But man. I love those games. I wish I had those toys though. I really do. Some of them. Like I heard you had a Grayskull castle.
Oh man, he has all that stuff.
For that. I was like,
he has all that stuff.
I used to want that stuff.
He has all that stuff. He's probably, now you're going to get him all hype. He'll probably do another one on it, in some of his archives. You'll see. I can't remember what he had.
I want to see the Grayskull castle. That's what
he had this big, huge city. I forgot the name of it. It was huge. It could hardly fit on his camera when he was when he did the interview on that city thing he got from He-Man. I mean, it was freaking huge. Wow. I mean, it could hardly fit on the camera. And Sega Forever, man. Hey, it doesn't matter if you're late, brother. Better late than never. Our brother Sega Forever, our Hawaiian brother.
I'm glad you could come.
Aloha, brother. What's going on with you? We're going to do a podcast with you too, man. Doesn't matter. We'll get the times right. We all can join.
Yep.
and do a podcast with you, brother, because you know our brother Sega Forever has been with us since day one. And he's
Mm-hmm.
also part of the family with the Wrecking Crew podcast. So I can't forget
Exactly.
about my brother.
He's worth staying up with the insomnia. He's worth everything.
Well, E-Rock and the guys, they're always clowning Sega Forever because man, I remember one time we was in there till I think like 4 a.m. over here, bro. We was in there deep with Sega Forever for a long time, man. Long time we were in there for Sega Forever. But you know what? At the end of the day, even though we were in there long with Sega Forever, we had a great time. We were talking about pop culture, we were talking about gaming, and it was worth staying up for. And I did that after I got off at work at 11.
Wow.
11 p.m. till 5 or 4:30 a.m. So
Wow.
we had a great show. We had a great show, but sometimes we go long. But it was great to do a podcast with our brother Sega Forever, man. But we're all going to get together
Mm-hmm.
and do
Yeah,
it.
we
And
support each other. That's the
right.
main thing.
That's right. So I'm going on to hit what Dia said, man. We need to stick together, guys. All of us, Unlimited, E-Rock, Hebot, our
In
brother
our chat.
Sega
Don't
Forever.
forget our chat. We had the best chat in
Our
the
chat
world.
is incredible. Our chat is on fire. And I want to say big thanks before we close out. I'm going to announce everybody that was in the chat. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate you coming to the interview with the First Lady of Chat, Dia, 4568. I thank you guys for coming. And we're going to start with the first man that was in here, Google Poll. Thank you for coming. Unlimited Productions. My brother, thank you for coming. Peltrex. Our brother E-Rock made an appearance. Thank you for supporting us, E-Rock. Other Zinc, thank you for coming. Mr. Kima, I appreciate you always coming. Ramo, thank you, man. #1 fan. Fatal, what's up, brother? Thank you for coming and joining us, man. I really appreciate that, brother. It was good to see all of y'all in here, man. Hebot, thank you for coming and joining me. My first interview with the First Lady of Chat, man. It went great. It went great. It went good. And we had a great time talking here. And thank you, Anthony Chipmunk. Thank you, brother, for coming and joining us today also, man. And thank, who else we had? Lewis Frag in here. We had Lewis Frag. Thank you for coming and rocking out with us. And they've been with us since day one. And I want to give a big thanks to a brother that I haven't seen in a long time. And I'm glad that he came in here. And that is Ghost Rider 730. Brother, thank you for coming and joining me, man, on the podcast, in the chat, brother. Appreciate you, man. And like I said, I hope you and your family are doing well. I speak the truth. Thank you for coming and joining us, man, with Dia, the First Lady of Chat, man. We had a great interview. I thought it went well. And look forward to seeing her. Look forward to seeing her more because she's part of our family now. Dia is definitely part of the Exile Alpha. We got next Unlimited Productions with the Unlimited Truth. And even our good old brother, humble brother, Tuck with the Lions Den.
Like one day I'm gonna have to get on there too. I'll get
like
on.
Dia said, Tuck, just be yourself. And that's what we want Tuck to do. Well, you know, we guys, before I leave, we might hear us clown him a little bit, but it's all in love. We love Tuck Master. He's part of our family. And it's great things that Tuck's doing out there, man. He's part of our family. And he's part of our podcast, because without him also, there wouldn't be no podcast like the podcasts that we all created and love, to do, man. So guys, I'm gonna let Dia do her sign outs, and then we're gonna get on out of here. So Dia, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me in the chat most of the time. I'm not always in the shows, because I sometimes can't make them. Mm-hmm. But then I'll also pop up here and there. But it'll be within this circle of podcasts, So you'll find me time to time there. But I'm always going to be in the chat, and sometimes I'll be there live, sometimes I won't. It just depends on when they do it, But I just want to leave this with you guys. Have fun gaming and be proud of your purchase with Xbox. Enjoy it.
Well done, Dia. And a big thanks also, and I don't want to ever forget my brother Sega Forever.
Sega Forever, yeah.
Sega Forever, brother. It was good to see you here, even though it was at the end. Doesn't matter. You made it. That's all that counts, brother. And we need to get our podcasts up with you again, brother. And hope you and your family are doing well. And remember the Wrecking Crew podcast on Fridays with our brother Sega Forever, guys. And guys, we're gonna get on out of here, and we'll see you soon, guys. And remember, guys, Xbox for life. We don't die, guys. We multiply. And remember, baby, we're always eating good over here. Have a good day.
Bye.
Peace.